What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Chris, this is Watch Chris. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that bell icon, and of course clicking that like button if you find this video useful or helpful. Today, we're talking about Zelos, one of my favorite micro brands. If you're interested in a luxury watch, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, Zelos offer legitimate luxury watches at micro brand prices. We're taking a look at their latest release. It is the Eagle 2. This is a 39mm watch in full titanium. It has a special case. It has a really special movement. And of course, it gets a Meteorite dial. All of that for under $900. It seems like every time Zelos come out with a new model, they keep on making improvements. This is the Eagle 2. There was an Eagle 1. It was a very early model for them. And what they've done here is revisited this model, made it thinner, made it a little bit smaller. And now what we're getting is a pretty incredible watch that features a Joux Perret G100 movement inside. It's actually decorated. That original Eagle had a skeletonized case, so does this watch. That midsection of the case has a knurling on it, and then the lugs are completely hollowed out. So this is actually a pretty lightweight watch in 39mm. The thickness here is around 12.6mm, including the sapphire crystal, which is boxed. However, without that sapphire crystal, comes in at around 11mm. The lug span here is around 47.5mm. You do have a very interesting profile on the case. When you're looking at the case, even on the crown side, it sort of looks like a spaceship. And I think that Zelos do take a lot of inspiration from spacecraft and science fiction. You definitely see that in the handset on this watch, which is really interesting. Their hands are always very, very interesting, and they always put an incredible amount of lume. Looking at the dial on this watch, it is Meteorite. You also have a ring that is sectioning off the dial. The outer portion is a 60-minute track. The inner portion is a 12-hour track, and that ring is blued steel. The hands are also blued steel. The applied logo, also blued steel. You're getting 100 meters of water resistance with this watch. And the dial, the indices here that are applied are just blocks of lume, or at least they look like blocks of lume, and they act like blocks of lume because the lume is amazing on this watch. Usually Zelos put a lot of attention to detail into the lume that they put on watches, and this watch obviously no different here. Lots of lume, even that railroad track for the minute track is lume, so very, very bright lume that lasts a very long time. Zelos always put a lot of thought into their watches, and you can see this is sort of a dress watch, but it's a pilot's watch. You have that triangle at the top at the 12 o'clock with the two dots. This is definitely to give you orientation in the dark. You also get a pilot style rubber strap on here with contrasting stitching, and of course, a titanium buckle. Like I mentioned before, this is all titanium. It's actually hardened titanium. So again, paying attention to the details. Speaking of details, when you flip over this watch and you look at the display case back, there isn't a lot of information here. It is a limited edition of 150. It tells you that it's titanium. However, the show here is the movement. It is the G100, and it has a custom rotor. That rotor is a turbine rotor. It looks really cool on this watch, and I would say it is a premium watch in my opinion. This is definitely a luxury watch at non-luxury prices. This specific watch with a Meteorite dial is $899. However, you can get them with other dials that are just as interesting for less money on their website. I believe this will be live on the 8th of February. So if you are interested in one of these watches, definitely jump on them. They are limited to 150 watches each. Some of them might be a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but usually they are very limited quantities, and you do have to get onto their website when they go live to buy one. And I think that's probably the biggest problem with Zelos watches, which isn't really a big problem in my opinion. I've said this before, the fact that they are limited and they are hard to get, that's not a bad thing. They do release watches on a pretty regular basis, and it's definitely a fair process. And you really can't say that about a lot of watch brands out there. So that is something to keep in mind. So if you don't get this watch, they do have watches currently available on their website that you could buy that are non-limited editions. Usually Zelos actually appreciate in the aftermarket, And that's not a bad thing, especially when you're considering they are a micro brand. Most micro brands lose value in the secondary market. Now, that's something that's not important to me. However, it is important to some people. So it's definitely something that should be mentioned when you're talking about Zelos. It is kind of important. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you think of Zelos? What do you think of the Eagle 2 that I just showed you guys? This, like I said, is the Meteorite dial. They've made a few different really interesting pattern dials. They do a lot with their dials. They do a lot with their cases. Most of their cases are interesting and really well made and comfortable, and this is no exception. This sort of reminds me of a dress watch and at the same time a sports watch. You're getting 100 meters of water resistance and a screw down crown and of course a screwed in case back. And on my 7.5 inch wrist, I think it looks amazing. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Anyway guys, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.